One of the most dramatic and exciting tools in the photo composition toolbox is that of framing. And framing is, as it says there on the screen, is using existing visual elements from the surrounding pieces of your photograph to frame the subject of a photograph. It can sometimes work very similarly to leading lines in the sense that it sort of focuses our eye for us on a particular subject. In contrast to leading lines, however, this doesn't necessarily need to point our eye. Sometimes it just provides a visual frame that makes our search for the subject a little bit easier. As it says there as well, this particular device is effective, especially when we have a busy photograph. And I've got an example to show you here in a second. But if we have a lot of visual elements, sometimes framing can really help us out. And this first photo is taken directly after the September 11th attack in New York City. And this photograph was taken, as you can see, through a window of a firefighter on a ladder. And you can see that it not only sort of frames for us the subject of this photo, which is the firefighter, but it also provides context for us of a broken out, sort of shattered window. So that's something that's really cool about framing, which is that, yes, it does focus our eye on the particular subject, but it also does it in a way that is not artificial. It's not, oh, just look what happened to point at the subject. It actually is also part of the photo itself. This particular example does provide like a pretty neat frame. It's a full square around it. The next photo, which I really, really like, its use of framing, is this refugee child at a barbed wire fence. And whereas, in contrast to the photo above it, it doesn't form a perfect frame. But we see that these strips of barbed wire, which again are really part of the story of this photograph, are framing this young child's eyes, face and eyes for us, which are really the most. We've talked about it over and over again, that the eyes are the center of the emotion of a face, and so even though this is not a full, square frame like the one above it, the framing of that child's face in the with the barbed wire fence is pretty dramatic. And as I mentioned, the busy photograph is this last photograph here of a hurdler about to race. This is an incredibly, while it's a very, very cool photo to see, it was really a difficult one to take. We'll talk more about it when we talk about depth of field, but this photographer was a long way away from the hurdler at the start line, and to capture all of these hurdles and have them at different levels of focus and in focus and out of focus is really quite difficult. But you can see there's a lot in this photo. But even with all of the busyness of the hurdles and things like that, the focus really is to our subject, which is the athlete about to start his race.